What's up, everybody? In this video, I'm going to show you how to get started as a freelance writer today and hopefully get your first client within the week. Check it out. So it's obviously a crazy time right now with the coronavirus. People are out of work, they're stuck at home and looking for a way to make money. Now, what's great about freelance writing is that you can do it from anywhere. All you need is a computer, an internet connection, and you're good to go. And why should you listen to me? Well, I've made my living as a writer for years, and I've also hired writers for my company. So I've been on both sides of the table, and everything I'm telling you are real-world strategies. And before we get started with all the things you do need to get started as a writer, let me tell you about the things you don't need. You don't need a website, you don't need business cards, you don't need expensive courses or networking events. Skip all that for now. What you do need is a customer. So that's what I'm going to teach you how to do in this video. And in future videos, I'm going to get more and more intricate with this process. And realize that the term freelance writer is a very broad term. Freelancing just means that you're working for yourself and not as an employee. And writer is obviously someone who writes. The good news is there's all kinds of options for a writer. You can write blogs, you can write emails, you can write ad copy, you can write video scripts, you can write commercials. I've done it all. So the first thing you're going to want to do is to narrow down the type of writing that you're going to do. And I use 3 rules to do this. Number 1 is that there is a market for the writing that you're offering. This is the biggest mistake writers make. They go out there and go, I'm going to write poetry. I'm going to write my blog about my personal life. Nobody cares. Nobody wants to pay money for that. Okay? So the first thing you want to do is make sure that people are actually paying for the type of writing you are going to offer. Number 2, it's writing that you enjoy doing. That doesn't have to be the most fun thing on earth, but you don't want to get stuck writing things that you find tedious and that you don't really want to do because you're going to burn out. And number 3, something that you can actually do. You don't want to sell services that you can't actually perform. It's bad business, and again, it's going to not pay off in the long run. And if you're feeling overwhelmed right now, not to worry. I'm going to show you everything you need to do to reverse engineer your success, research your writing services so that you can be in the best position possible. All right, let's get into specifics. So the first thing you want to do is get a profile on Upwork. Upwork is a freelance marketplace that connects buyers and sellers from all over the world for all kinds of freelance services. So they've got writing, design, customer service, you name it. Now, I know there are a lot of other options out there for writers, and I don't use Upwork a whole lot these days, but when I got started, it was a great resource because A, it's free, and B, it connects you with customers. A lot of times people get stuck looking for customers, they're cold emailing people, they're trying to hit up potential leads on Facebook, which are all good avenues to do. But again, you want to get your first customer as quickly as possible so you can hit the ground running. And so you're going to create your Upwork profile. And you can see here on the Upwork writing section, they show you some of the highest rated writers and editors making anywhere from $40 to $150 an hour. And you can see a lot of different niches that you can get into. So the cool thing is you can see the different types of services here already. Articles and blogs, web content, technical writers, creative, copywriters, editors. So I'll just pick one at random here. We'll do blog and article writers. And one thing I recommend doing when you create your profile is to take a look at some of the top rated people in this industry and see what they're doing on their profile, because it's going to be some good clues as to what you should put in your profile as well. So you can see here you've got like a travel and scuba diving content specialist. Talk about specific, right? I mean, travel and scuba diving. There's a market for everything. Business and blog writing, software documentation, on and on and on. And when you go to the sign up page, just get the free account. They have some paid options, but you don't need to do that. Just go and sign up with your Google account or another email address here. And when you sign up for Upwork, they may ask you for some additional verification like your ID or your passport, just to confirm who you are. So that may take a day or two. And that's why I recommend doing this first, so then you can use the rest of this time to build out your portfolio. Now, I know what you're thinking, Chris, I just got started. I don't have a portfolio. I don't have any samples. What are you talking about? Don't worry about it. So what we're going to do here is to actually create 1 or 2 samples that you can use when you start submitting for gigs. Now, the first thing you can do, and I highly recommend this if you are currently working, is to try and get a sample for your current job, right? It's a great way to get an inroad with your employer. That's what I did when I first got started. I was working a job and I just wrote something on my own. I showed it to the company owners, they loved it, and they said, hey, can you do some other writing for us? So that's a very easy way to get your first gig. Another thing you can do though is even if they don't take it, you can still use that as a sample. And because it's a company you know well, it's an industry you know well, so it's an easy way to get started. Now, if you're not working right now, that's not a big deal. What you're gonna do is actually look at an industry that you know very well. So let's give an example like the CBD medical marijuana industry, right? If you know that really well, you can start writing some things that are in that industry. It could be descriptions of products. It could be emails. It could be a blog. Take a look at what's out there and then write some of your own samples. You don't have to do a lot, one or two little things, but just to show that you know what you're doing. Now, once you've got those samples together, the next thing you're going to do is start submitting for gigs on Upwork. And I'll actually pull up my real Upwork account so you can see the type of jobs that you can apply for. So in this case, we've got blog writing. I just typed this into the search here. You can see some of the different options here. You can decide if you want to pick US only if you're in the United States, and you can turn that off to get submissions from worldwide clients. And you can also filter out, and I'll give you a couple of tips here. Number one is you want someone that's payment verified. And when you look at the number of proposals, I usually try to keep it under 15. If someone's at like 20 to 50 proposals, you're probably not going to get in there. They're probably not even going to see your proposal. So you could go in here and just keep it at 10 to 15, 5 to 10, and less than 5. Budget really doesn't matter, and then the hours per week don't really matter either, but you can pick whatever one you want. And the same with the project length, it doesn't really matter. That can narrow it down a little bit. So you can see here is a good example. Write an educational article on digital banking services. So if you know anything about the banking industry, this might be for you. So they're going to pay $50 to $75 an hour, and they want someone to talk about the benefits of using digital banking. So they give you some options here. Some sample titles, 750 to 1,000 words. And they give you all the details on the job. So if that was something I was interested in submitting, I would actually go to submit a proposal, and then I would go to the job details, and then you'd pick the terms. So you get to pick the rate you want to pay for your job. Upwork takes a service fee. That's the one reason I don't like using this a whole lot, but again, it's great to use it when you get started. And then you're going to do a cover letter here. You're going to answer some questions, and then you're going to attach some of your samples. And this is a big mistake people make. They don't attach their samples to these proposals and they don't get read. And I say this as someone who's hired people on Upwork as well. Always, always, always attach your samples. Because if you go, oh, just see my profile, I'm just going to delete it and move on to the person that followed the directions, right? So again, answer these questions here, and I'll show you a real proposal that I did. So you can see here, this was an article and script on video conferencing sales techniques and explainer videos. So in this one, this person was looking for a series of short articles and scripts for people how to use Zoom, right? We're all using Zoom nowadays. And so basically what they wanted was someone to go ahead and create all of this content for them. You can see here my little letter. Hi, happy to help with your video conferencing explainer videos. I use Zoom all the time, blah, blah, blah. You want to personalize these messages a bit. You don't want to just do some generic thing. And then I talk about some other offers I may have for them. And if you look below, I actually attach some of my samples here. So it's a pretty straightforward process, right? You're going to start submitting the jobs. And if you're just getting started, mention that in your proposal. You don't have to mention that you're a brand new writer, but mention that you're new to Upwork. And again, if you have those samples, that's why you attach those to your proposal. Another thing I want to talk about is your profile on Upwork. So I'll actually show my real profile here. So you can see you've got the a little picture of yourself, your name. This job success story is how many freelancing jobs were a great experience. Top rated kind of means you do well. So it's something that takes a little while to get into, but it's a good thing to do. So now let's take a look at this intro section. So now what I'd like to do for the headline is to describe exactly what I do. And you can be more poetic with it if you want. If you want to do something like writing that converts or super duper great writing, it doesn't really matter. But just try to think of the mind of your prospect. What would they want to see if they were hiring someone for what you're offering, right? And here I actually give some testimonials from old clients. And if you don't have that, you wouldn't be doing that right away. So in this little intro section, you can introduce yourself. Hey, my name's Chris. This is what I do. This is what I can do for you. And another thing you can do is add a video, and I highly recommend doing this as well. I'll give you instructions on how to do it, but it's basically just embedding a YouTube video here. So you can see with this one, I just talk about my background, the types of writing I've done. It's a great way to put a name to a face and actually connect with your potential client. So I highly recommend doing that. And then in this portfolio section, this is going to be where you attach your samples as well. Then you can also put your skills in here, any certifications you may have, your employment history, your education, any other experience you have here. That's where all of that goes, is in your profile. So at this point, it's just going to be a numbers game of starting to submit the jobs that you feel like you're a good fit for. Again, this is why I recommend starting with Upwork, because it's not complicated. You're not going out and hunting business. You're not having to figure out contracts and payments. All this gets handled in Upwork. You put your banking info in there, they handle disputes. The customers can put their payments in escrow, so it's waiting, and they release the funds to you. It's not perfect. Even though Upwork is free, they do take a pretty hefty service charge. So I think once you get going, I wouldn't rely on this. But again, you just want to get your first client. And if you have any questions, put those in the comments, and I'll get more and more detailed with this process in future videos. Good luck. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to smash that like button and subscribe button, or whatever the kids say. I don't know. And if you have any requests for future videos, you can put those in the comments. If you're an artist looking to make a living, this is going to be the channel for you.